Hive is a head-to-head, two-player abstract strategy game, where players will use these pieces with pictures of different bugs on them in order to try to capture their opponent's queen bee. In Hive, there is no board. The playing pieces make up the board. Players will take turns, and on their first 4 turns of the game, players will choose a piece from their supply and place them in the center of the table. The first piece will go like so. The next piece must touch this piece on one of its 6 sides, and so on and so forth. After the first turn, when a player plays a piece, they must place it such that it is only touching one of their pieces and not touching any of the other player's pieces. So I could place my spider piece like so, but I could not place it here or here. That would not be allowed. Players will take turns back and forth, placing pieces until they have both placed their queen bee. Each player has one of them. The object of the game is to try to completely surround your opponent's queen bee with other pieces. This can be any combination of your pieces and their pieces. That's totally fine. Once it is completely surrounded on 6 sides, then the other player wins the game. For the first turn of the game, the first player will take one of their pieces and place it into the center of the table. The second player will choose one of their pieces and place it next to that piece. The next player will choose another one of their pieces to play, and so on and so forth. You must play your queen bee onto the board by at least the 4th turn of the game. Once you have played your queen bee, instead of placing a piece on your turn, you have the option of moving one of your pieces instead. Each of the bugs depicted on your pieces moves using different rules. The queen bee, for example, can move 1 space if you try to move it. Now, in this game, all of the bugs who are on the board must always be connected to each other by the end of the move. So, for example, if I wanted to move my spider here, I would not be able to do so because doing so would leave the queen bee disconnected from the rest of the hive, and that's not a legal move. In addition, each piece must be able to be slid physically around the board without disrupting any other pieces. So, for example, in this scenario, even though I could move my queen bee 1 space out to here, doing so would push the beetle and the spider out of the way. So that is not a legal move that I can do. Let's talk about how the pieces move. So, the honeybee can move 1 space. That is, if it is touching the side of something, it moves to touch the next adjacent side of that thing. The spider moves similarly, but it can move 3 spaces. In fact, it must move 3 spaces when it moves. Say this spider here could go 1, 2, 3 spaces like that, or it could go 1, 2, 3 spaces like that. Those are the only 2 possible moves. The beetle, like the honeybee, can only move 1 space. However, the beetle has the added benefit that it can climb on top of other bugs. This beetle could move either to here or to here as its 1 move, or it could hop on top of this spider. Of course, anything underneath the beetle is unable to move until the beetle moves off onto another space or another tile. Ants are like spiders, except ants can move any number of spaces, making them extremely powerful and important pieces in the game of Hive. And finally, there are also grasshoppers. Now, grasshoppers don't move a set number of spaces. Rather, they jump over other pieces on the board. When you move a grasshopper, you choose a direction, and you jump over all of the pieces that are next to the grasshopper in that direction until it comes to an empty space. So, for example, if my grasshopper was here, I could jump the grasshopper from this space over to this space, or I could jump the grasshopper from this space over to this space, like so. The grasshopper must end at the nearest empty space in the direction that you choose. That's the game of Hive. Players will continue to either move or place pieces, and once you have completely surrounded your opponent's queen with any combination of pieces, then you win the game.